Hey everybody, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I have another layout for the Hip Kit Club, and this is my second layout using the October Hip Kits. My theme for today is maximize your pattern papers. So I picked out a few that I thought I wanted to start with. I was really inspired by this paper. It's from the Maggie Holmes Gather collection, and it's got all these different colors and patterns of little strips. So I thought I'm going to cut this up and use all these little vertical strips in a unique and different way. And I do wind up changing my background. At first I was going to use that gradient light mint paper, and that's from the Pink Paisley Take Me Away, but I do wind up changing that. And this is something fun you could do with this paper, because if you got the main kit or the paper kit, then you're going to have this paper. And all these little strips are so fun and cute, and I thought that it would make a really fun background. And it really looks like you used a lot of things, but you really only used this one paper. So I kind of played around with it. I chose to go with one of the Dear Lizzie Saturday papers as my background, and it also has stripes on it, and I'm going to turn it on its side so they're vertical. So they go with the strips. And this is the picture that I'm going to use, and it's in color, and it's so funny. It's my daughter from a few years ago, and she's in her bed at night, and she's looking at her iPad with her pink sunglasses on. And I just thought of course the photo is cute, and I love the memory, but I also love the colors in it. It's got different shades of pink, and I think that it's going to really go with this collection, with the Gather collection, and all the pinks and corals that are in it. And it looks better as I go. At first I was kind of nervous. I've had this picture out for a while to scrap, and I just haven't had the right color scheme to go with it, and so I think this one works out really well. So I'm going to lightly glue all of these strips down to the right of the paper there, and so I've got a little fun colorful design going, and I'm going to put my picture in the upper right because she's looking down toward the left, and so I want it to look like she's looking down and across the paper. And so that kind of helps me decide how to start my layout and where to put everything. So I'm going to jazz up the background like I normally do, and I'm going to use white gesso and just kind of smudge some of it over the bulk of that background paper and a little bit over the strips, not too much over the strips because I don't want to cover up all that pretty color. Now this is a Creamies, it's a Shimmers, and it's in this, no, I'm sorry, that was in last month's color kit, but it's the perfect color. It continues to go with the October kits, even though that was in the September color kit. It's the Creamies Grapefruit, and it's a really pretty coral color. So I'm going to use that with some packaging here just to start some color going on the background. And there's, no rhyme or reason here. I'm just splattering and smushing. It's just going to give me a little base to start with. Now this spray is from this month. This is from the October color kit, and it's a Vibes, and it's called Glorious Day, and it's a shimmery golden yellow mustard color. It's perfect for these kits. It matches very nicely. And I'm just going to kind of mix and match some of these colors and try not to blend them together, but I do want that in the background. I think it contrasts nicely with all the pink tones in my picture. And a lot of this is going to be covered by my picture, and so I want to make sure that you can see it coming out from behind the picture. And so I decided that since there were a couple of really light baby pink strips over on the right, I wanted to bring that baby pink color into the background. So I did pull a Shimmers from my stash. This is a spritz called Cotton Candy, and it brings out that true pink, not necessarily the coral pink, but a lighter, I just call it a baby pink, I guess. I am going to back my picture with some tissue paper just to give it a little bit of interest and a little bit of separation from that background. And my tape strip on my tape runner broke, and the strip is not long enough to wind back up into the little, whatever that part is called, where the tape winds around, and so I'm having to kind of do it by hand. Now this is also in this month's color kit. This is an Echo Park stencil. It's wood grain, and I'm going to use the textures that also come this month. So you get the stencil, the vibes, and this textures, and it's called Crushed Coral, and it's kind of like the Dazzlers if you've ever gotten those before, except the textures has some grit mixed in with it. It's almost like sand. It reminds me of like a facial scrub, so you're going to get lots of texture. It feels very gritty, definitely when you touch it, and you can see it too. But you can also smudge it with your finger. I'm going to take my little palette knife here and just smudge a little bit of it. And so, you know, it's as gritty as you make it. If you want to keep smudging it and just have the color, you can kind of wipe away some of the grit. But I like it. I think it looks cool. And that just kind of added a little bit to my background. You know, this layout is not about nature or anything in, you know, relating to wood grain. But I like the way that looks. I also did some stitching there off camera with some gold metallic thread. And I'm going to take some time and just kind of ruffle up some of the edges just to give this a little more texture and to make it not look as flat. And I'm just going to use my hands to do that. And some of them kind of got stuck down when I put the gesso over it, so I'm going to have to kind of bend the paper a little bit to get those to ruffle up. And I love the shimmer and shine from that textures. You can see there how sparkly and shimmery it is. And I didn't even use that much of it, but you can really see it. You can also see the creamies and the shimmer from the vibes too. Still working on my background here. I'm going to come in and add a couple more splatters of each of those colors that I just used. I'm going to add a little bit of things behind the photo. I want to bring in some of that minty, well, I guess that's not really mint, teal green color, because I do have a little bit of that going in the paper strips. I'm going to mix and match some of the die cuts that are in the kits. These are some little bits and pieces from We Are Memory Keepers, Honey, I'm Home. And I'm just trying to represent all of the colors that I've got going over on the little strips on the right. I'm going to use that little tag behind there and that frame. And that tab is a little sticker from Simple Stories. And I've got that little wood veneer Enjoy Life piece picked out, but I don't wind up using that. Got my ATG fixed finally. And you know, this is a good thing to do if you go through all of your die cuts and you find die cuts or ephemera that don't really match what you're doing, or you think, you know, I'm never going to use this. Use it as a layer. You can always use it as a layer like I did with those two pieces there. And you would never know that they have words on them or that they're themed to a certain thing. You can just tuck them behind your picture and you would never know. I'm going to use that little chipboard shine piece because the iPad is shining in her face. And I just thought she looked kind of sassy and funny. So I'm going to use this Pink Paisley Fabulous Thicker, and it's shiny gold. And I'm just kind of going through, this is the We Are Memory Keepers sticker sheet and the Simple Stories sticker sheet. And I'm just seeing what I can use. I'm just picking things out. This isn't necessarily where they're going to go, but I like what they say or like the color. I am going to use some of these rub-ons, and they are gold. I'm going to use this Hello, and it's going to be a subtle part of the title. It's going to overlap. These are the Simple Stories clear stickers. Going through my thread here, I picked out a darker teal and a light minty teal, but I only stick with the darker one just because I think it contrasts a little bit better. And I add a little bit to the right and then a little bit to the left, and it just adds a little pop of that teal color because I've got so much pink going on. Just kind of contrast against that. And I decided to not add foam underneath my photo this time because I had so many layers going under it. And I'm going to wind up overlapping the Fabulous Thicker kind of on top of it. And I didn't want it to be so raised up that it totally messed up the word. So I just left everything flat. And it still winds up looking dimensional, so I like how it turned out. Now these rub-ons are so great. They rub on very nicely, even over the gesso and the shimmers products. It worked great. And one thing about these big thickers is you can manipulate them. You can make them perfectly straight, or you can kind of bend them like I'm doing here. I make it kind of curved. Lots of possibilities with that. And you can see how the L kind of overlaps the layers and it sticks up a little bit. So I didn't want to, that's why I didn't want to raise the photo up anymore. That little yellow sticker says snippets of real life, and I like the fact that it's yellow, and I like what it says too. It brings kind of like I have a triangle of yellow. And these are just some little clear stickers from the Simple Stories sheet. I can't read them from here, but they have the word shine in them, and I like that because of the light shining on her. At first I didn't want to use any florals in this, but it just looked too cute not to, so I decided to change my mind and go with some of these florals from this sticker sheet. And I think they're kind of subtle because these two big ones are white, and they just add a little bit of detail without being overwhelming. So I added one to the right of the picture, and then I'm going to add a little cluster over here underneath Fabulous, underneath the F. I'm mixing and matching with some of the chipboard florals from Simple Stories, and the colors just match perfectly. This just happened, I just kind of did this really quickly once I got going because the colors just flowed together. Everything matched. You know, I didn't have to kind of try anything out and say, did this match? Does this really go? Because everything does. You know, it's so pretty. I'm going to do another rub-on leaf cluster here down at the bottom to play around. I wasn't sure where it was going to go. Rub-ons are so addictive, especially when they rub on so nicely like this. I'm having to withhold myself from just using the whole pack because I want to just rub them on an entire layout, and I don't want to do that because then they'll be all used up. I know you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, these are little stickers from Simple Stories. And that little one at the bottom says Little Things, and then I'm going to use Shine, which is chipboard, and these are some of the cute little foil stickers and clear stickers. Those are addictive because they just add the perfect little touch here and there, and there's so many cute ones. These are the We Are Memory Keepers puffy stickers, and there's another flower that just matches perfectly. And they're really soft puffy stickers. Really, really cool quality. I did decide to add a little bit more thread down there underneath the floral cluster. I'm using that same mint, or not mint, I'm sorry, the darker teal color. I decided to add a little bit of cord up there in that tag, and then the last thing I'm going to do is come in and add my lines using my T-square ruler, and then I'm going to add my journaling and a couple more splatters because I did wind up covering up a lot of the splatters when I started adding in all those embellishments. So I'm going to come in with the pink, the coral creamies, and the yellow Glorious Day. And then I do add the date stamp once I go off camera, and that's going to wrap it up. This was super fun to make. I hope you look at your pattern papers and think of a unique way to cut them up and create a cool background with them, because that one paper did a lot for this layout, I think, and it really helped me, it helped guide me to the color scheme that I wanted to use. And so it just happened to go pretty quickly once I got all that figured out. So let me know if you have any questions about anything here, products, techniques, anything. This was super fun to make. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So let me know what you think, and I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a great day, and make sure you check out hipkitclub.net for all the October kits. Thanks for watching.